5-star defensive lineman from Katy, Texas. David Hicks committed to Texas A&M over the University of Oklahoma on Wednesday afternoon. He was slated to go to OU for a long time. A lot of the recruiting experts picking him to head to OU to keep on building on what is a solid 2023 class. And at the last second, he flips to Texas A&M. There was a report out by Kerry Murdoch of Sooner Scoop that Hicks did not inform the OU staff that he switched to Texas A&M, but he later on clarified that about 10 minutes before Hicks went on to ESPN, he got in contact with Todd Bates and told him that he was going to Texas A&M. So that's where we are. I'll open it up. I'll open up the floor. How we feeling? Not ideal.
Not great, man.
Mark, you're on mute.
Mark.
That's the game, though. And I don't want to hear anyone talk about the bag because that's always going to be there. That's never going to change. OU doesn't have the number of donors. It doesn't have the volume of cash that it can just throw at these people.
Correct.
So that's always going to be the case. We have to overcome it. And we lost out on this one, but it doesn't make a difference. Like for the next one that we lost out on this one, it's the same we every single time. And every single time other schools are going to have more money. We just have to be able to make the right pitch and sell the right thing. And we all thought that was going to work with David Hicks, right? That's what worked with Colton Vasek. That's what's worked with PJ Adebawore. That's what worked with Jackson Arnold. We just didn't get this one. We were able to flip Anthony Evans in the 9th inning against Georgia. They were able to flip David Hicks from us in the 9th inning. Sometimes it's just that simple. And maybe it is the bag, but it's always going to be the bag. And we have to be able to beat that.
Yeah.
Besides the bag, though, he is a guy from Katy, an hour and a half away from the Aggies. He had a good relationship with the Aggies staff. A location is a big thing as well, in my opinion. If he was a guy from Tulsa, I think that he would have went to OU.
That's fair. I
got 7 figures says you're wrong.
Yeah, right.
Well, you said not to talk about the bags.
You said not to talk about the bag. You did say that, Mark.
I was
upset.
I'm the problem.
I was upset, but then I realized I was upset because one, I didn't think he had talked to Todd Bates, and then the report came out that he did talk to Todd Bates, and I felt a little differently. And I had a friend call me and was complaining about this whole situation. He was mad at Hicks and even mad at Todd Bates and Brent Venables for not seeing this coming. And then when in reality, the report said that Todd Bates talked to him last night on Tuesday night, talked to David Hicks, and David Hicks was going to OU. And then today he flipped. Like, you can't be on top of this kid every second of every day. Like, stuff's
I've also
happen.
seen conflicting stuff.
You have
like a producer, someone on Twitter for the ESPN thing today, spent all day yesterday with him leading up to this, has said he knew it was A&M 3 days ago.
Wow.
David Hicks knew it was A&M 3 days ago. So I think there's a lot of conflicting stuff out there, and it's because David Hicks is a kid who is juggling a very difficult situation and probably didn't want to tell Todd Bates the truth until the storm was on him, right?
Yeah. Matt, get in there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna touch on. We always talked about the perspective of like the OU fans and school and all that, but we got to think about the kid as well. He's 17 years old, about to make one of the biggest decisions of his life, and that's where to go to school and obviously further his, not only his football, but his academic career. So there's a lot more things that go into it. Yeah, does money play a factor? It's always going to, especially with now the NIL deals, and there's no regulation on it. So these kids have to make a decision, and they're life changing at this point, right? People used to have to go to college and then get ready for the NFL. Now kids can make 7 figures throughout their college career and set up their families for success. So it definitely plays a part into it. It's definitely a big miss. My biggest thing is that this coaching staff is just even in the running for these types of players, that we're in the final 3, 4, 5 schools, when previous regimes, not so much. I mean, these are high caliber, highly sought after players. I mean, we're talking about this kid could have gone to Michigan, to Alabama, all the top schools, you name it. Just the fact that we're competing for these recruits, I think says it all at the end of the day. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys think that we're gonna keep going after him, or is the bridge burned?
If Brent Venables' policy holds true, they're done with him. Because if he's committed to another school, then you got to take it as you would a guy commits to your school. That's how I see it.
I agree,
but that's a good question, Patrick. I don't know, and it would be interesting to hear him clarify this policy. I don't know. Ryan, anything to add?
Not really. I mean, I agree with most everybody here. I will say that I feel like this timing is extremely shitty. And like, that's not David Hicks' fault or anything like that. But it's just like the last 5 days have not felt wonderful already. And then you have this on top of it. And then you have like Colton Vasek tweeting out like heartbroken emojis. And you're just like, oh my God, we needed something after this last weekend.
Yeah.
But we don't have it.
So I will say this. The last thing I have on this is that if indeed Hicks did inform Todd Bates 10 minutes before he was about to go on stage, and that's the first time that they knew of it. I mean, that's a big time move by A&M, because only giving OU a 10-minute heads up that like, hey, I'm done. That you don't give Todd Bates the chance to pitch again or talk to him. And that's a great recruiting move by Texas A&M. You got to give him credit, because if that report is true, that's big boy recruiting, and OU's got to get used to that, because they're going to go up against people. Because if Mark, what you said is true, and it's been he's known for 3 days, and he just let Todd Bates know 10 minutes before. I mean, dude, that's somebody in his ear from A&M saying, don't contact them until you have to.
Don't let them even have a foot in the door. Don't start a conversation.
Yeah. Yep. Tell them, but not right now. Right. That's, I mean, because then A&M can save face, and even David Hicks be like, well, I informed them. I let them know. I had a conversation with them. When in reality, if he had that conversation 2 days ago, I think we're telling a different story.